choose to do what we do, because it's one of the questions I get on interviews a lot, which is like, why are you still motivated to do it? And it's like, well, what else would I do? I'm not going to just sit and drink pina coladas all day. That would be terrible. And the process of success for me is the process of becoming. The becoming is the success. And so hard work is the goal. That is the goal. Hard work that we find meaningful. And that is, for me, learning is meaningful, and I learn by doing. So that being said, 2021 was also difficult for me because it was a year that I basically took off. I did not work much at all. And that was mostly to kind of have the full experience. I don't want to poo-poo not working without having not worked. And after not working for almost an entire year, I can tell you, for me, no bueno. It was very sad for me. It was very depressing for me. I did not enjoy it. I did not get any meaningful, it was just not good. It was very empty. And so I'll give you a couple of the quick conclusions that I had from that whole year. The first thing is that for me, price of things no longer confers value, which is actually kind of interesting, because when you think about it, in the beginning, you can go out to a nice restaurant and it's really fancy because it's a nice restaurant. And so the fact that you're sacrificing so much to go out makes you enjoy it more. If you save up to buy a purse, if you're a girl, then the purse is more meaningful to you. But if you can buy a purse off of 1 minute's worth of income, then a really nice purse, or the most expensive purse off 1 minute's worth of income, then the purse no longer has that conferred value from the price. And so what's interesting about that, though, is that it allows, I feel like me now, to look at things without price altogether, because if all things cost essentially zero, then you get to just purely look at things for what they are, which is you take out the marketing, you take out the psychology, and it's like, do I like this thing? Does it serve me? Does it have function? And so that has been kind of my Occam's razor for how I deem things more valuable to me. So I realized that I prefer just simple cotton tanks because they are just easier for me and I like them. I don't need more expensive tanks because I don't like them. I like these ones, right? And if there's something that happens to be more expensive and I like it the best, then I will get that, right? But price no longer confers value if you don't feel like the price gives you status, because you don't get your status from the expensiveness of the thing or the cost of the things that you wear. Kind of interesting. Next was I had the realization that I had no way to actually spend the amount of money that we have accumulated over our lives and that we continue to accumulate. There's no real way to spend it, like as in consume it. Like you can spend it to buy assets for sure, but then those assets just make you more money. And so buying things for the sake of consuming them, there is a very easy limit that you reach where that you don't really get any more benefit. And so realizing that there's a diminishing marginal return with money was like an interesting conclusion to like realize myself. And I think what's interesting is that having more allows you to realize that you were just as happy when you had less. And maybe you have to do that on your own and get there to, let me prove it to myself, as Les Brown says. But to me, it was just a very interesting, kind of realization. The next one was, as a result of this, dealing with tax shenanigans, as I like to say, almost went down this path of building like these cascading trusts to decrease tax drag on the exits that we had. And I think it probably would have saved me somewhere in the neighborhood of about $6 million. It was like, I just don't care enough. I'll just pay my taxes, and I already have more than I can spend or eat, and move on. And at the end of the day, like for me, I realized that the wealth is built through the owning and not the selling. And so the goal is to just transact as little as possible and just continue to build value in the things that you do own, because most things over a very long period of time just go up a lot. And so it's all about patience. And I like, this is a quote that you can share, but I like setting up games where if I wait, I win. And so those tend to be the games that I now am more drawn towards, whereas I feel like when I was younger, it was more like, if I can't win fast, I don't want to play. But now it's like, I would love to have the games where you cannot win unless you wait, because I know so few people will play. And typically the rewards are outsized. Next one was just really thinking about ownership in general for personal belongings. I have still dedicated, Layla and I now, we own nothing. We lease our lifestyle. And I would say that it has been very freeing. We thought about buying a house again, and we actually ended up deciding not to do that. And so we are just leasing our lifestyle, and it is very freeing. I will say that. One of the things that I also have